because of, and I would say COVID-19 played a big role in this. People aren't willing to go out, and people aren't willing to go out and connect and experience others. And the problem with this is that in my model, I talked about community, and that community piece is extremely important. It is so important that it's so important that it's even on a subconscious level. Guys, I want you just to sit down and sit back for a second and think about your loved ones. Think about some of your most favorite people in the world that you love to hang out with. And just think about, how do you feel when you're about to see them? Do you feel, oh my God, I'm about to go see my friends? Or you feel like, man, I gotta go see these people. If you go, whoa, I'm about to see my friends, what's happening to you? What's happening to your physiology? Guys, your physiology, boom, you open up, you expand. You're willing to go out there and allow in. There's a wave and a elevation of energy. But let's say you're inside, like, yeah, I'm gonna go inside and hang out. Just chill. What happens to your physiology? What happens to your energy? It comes reclusive. It comes drawn in. It becomes deadly. So guys, that community is very important because you want to be with people, you want to connect with people, but not just that. When you begin to engage with every aspect of fitness, now you're also are working on some of your weaknesses. Guys, you not only want to focus on your strength, you want to focus on your weaknesses, because it is within your weaknesses that you'll really see the most development. I'll meet with clients, I'll meet with individuals, and I'll have conversations with people. And they're like, man, I can work out. That's easy. I got a gym in my garage. I got weights all over the place. I walk past the gym. I can hop in there for a couple minutes. That's physical activity is nothing. I walk to work. I do everything I gotta do. But man, when it comes to eating, man, I got a McDonald's right there, and I get off of work and I can't say no to it. Or like I'm so busy with work, I can't really do much in terms of my nutrition. I just eat whatever I have on hand. And so when you begin to engage with every single aspect of fitness, you want to create not necessarily a game plan, but you want to do what works for you. So let's say you are the individual and you're at work and you're super busy, and you have to engage with every aspect of fitness in order to see the maximal results in terms of your health and your wellness. Then, okay, cool. I understand you're busy, but this is an important key for you. So I would set a timer. Elon Musk sets and times his day within 5-minute intervals. I'm not telling you to go to that extreme, but let's say at the top of every hour, you have not even an alarm, but like a little notification on your phone, drink water. Okay, at the top of the hour, just even if it's just a sip of water, boom. And then you do that for 10 hours. Now and let's say you have a big water bottle. Now you just drink a big water bottle. Let's say you drink 1 ounce, or you need more than 1 ounce. Let's say you drink like 10 ounces every hour on the hour. Now by the end of 10 hours, you've just drunk 100 ounces. Now you probably need a little more than that, but at the very least you got in some water, you got in some fluid. And so you can get in other fluid in other ways, like oatmeal, or you get soup and stuff like that. But let's say you have coffee or something. But like in the bare minimum, like water requirement, at the very least, you're making sure you're hitting that marker. And so, or let's say, I do this. So I'll wake up in the morning and I have my morning routine. And my morning routine's fast. I'll wake up, make my bed, I'll clean. I'll then do my vitamins, do all my stuff. Do my hop in the shower, do my, get myself together. And then immediately after that, if I have work, I immediately get straight to work. Or if it's like I'm not working on like my work for my job, then I'm immediately working on this. I'm working on the podcast, the YouTube channel podcast, or I'm working on my book, or I'm working on something else. But throughout that, because I'm so busy, or I'm out and I'm walking around, I'm meeting people, I'm at a coffee shop. But if I'm not doing that, I'll have a water literally sitting right by my desk. So there's a water right now, right by my desk. And so when I'm working, I might get so deep into my deep work and I might become so focused that I'll literally like, I've had moments where like 30, 40, 50 minutes have gone by and I didn't even notice it. But then I'll like lean back for a second. I'll look at, oh, my water, boom, let me go ahead and take a sip. So for you, it might be, man, maybe you need to set a water by your bedside table. So when you wake up in the morning, you just look over, oh, it's my water. Let me go ahead and drink. Let me go ahead and drink this drink real quick. Or let's say, in an earlier episode, I said I had water in the car. And so you see the water in the car, so now you're more likely to drink it. But let's say, for example, that another problem you have is necessarily like eating healthy food. So what works for you? But some individuals, you guys have kids, you have other people you live with, so you might not be able to do this. I would say take every single unhealthy food out of the house until you can slowly implement unhealthy food because you've gained the ability to control. A lot of times with what happens in the beginning of people's fitness journeys is that they haven't gained the mental fortitude, patience, and the will to control the more primal reptilian aspects of themselves to essentially stop themselves from doing things. And I'll see this within everyday life now that I go back and I'm more in public and the public sphere and I'm seeing people's behaviors within everyday life. I'll see individuals that they will literally not be able to say no. They'll literally not be able to stop themselves. Everything is yes. And so I don't want to see anyone live in a state of uncontrolled or almost habitual overeating and beginning to engage with every aspect of fitness while keeping the other keys intact. This will just help you to increase that awareness. And so I would obviously, anytime there is a negative behavior, it is usually because there is a giving into a energy that is on the flip side of the positive energy. So gluttony, right? Gluttony is in the gut because your gut it wants to be full, but it wants to be overfull. And so I would say that like you guys need to go in the opposite direction and you need to teach yourself patience. And so patience requires sacrifice, but this takes time. And I would start this in small increments. I would go, okay, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5, but you want to, you need that in order to help yourself in building will. I did intermittent fasting it wasn't in the very beginning of my fitness journey, but at a certain point I did do intermittent fasting and it helped me to control my eating habits and just putting off when I eat. And within modern society, we do have an over availability of food that's easily accessible. And so we are thrusted into the world and we're told to eat 3 meals a day with like a bunch of snacks in between. And if you are in certain sports or in a certain way of living, this is good for you. But in other aspects, it could be detrimental because you could overeat in every time you engage in eating. And so when you're not mindful of this or you do not have the knowledge of this, it's easy to continually overconsume. And so the helpful solution would be to put off eating and condense your eating periods. So when we were out or in the past, when we were more primitive, we didn't eat that much. We didn't have the necessary food really available in order to eat. We would have to go out and get our food in either hunting or gathering. And so in modern society, our hunting and gathering is, let me go ahead and push some buttons on this device, or let me walk to the grocery store or drive to the grocery store. So, or let me just go look in the fridge. So there doesn't have to be that much effort and there's not that much sacrifice and there's not that much time in between us having to eat. And so I would condense meals and put it out in the beginning just to get you to almost what you're doing is essentially when you engage with every aspect of fitness, you're essentially training yourself. And so that's really what you want to get to. You want to get to such a point where you're essentially training yourself. Because if you never gain the ability to train yourself, you'll always be at the mercy of others, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because you should be taking advice and mentorship and always looking to others to give you knowledge, insight, and wisdom. But if you never grow in the process, if in 6 months, if you've been working with someone, or if you've been if you have been engaging with something and you haven't seen any growth, development, or improvement, then there's a problem. That means you haven't been getting what you need, or you haven't been pushed, or you haven't really seen any changes. And so engage with every aspect of fitness, because there are some weaknesses that you have that you need to adhere to that will, you guys have heard it before. The weakest link is usually what's going to lead to a team's downfall. So if you focus on building up the weakest link, then you don't even have to think about the strongest link, because you know the strongest link is always going to be there.